Hello besties, welcome to my channel. So here we have our lovely abacha. Some call it African salad. You can garnish it with fried fish, smoked fish, also with your stewed pomo and your onions, your garden egg, etc. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share. So let's get started. The first thing here is our potash. So I actually use the grinded potash. That's what most people use. Here is our Ehuru, calabash, nutmeg. That's the picture you can see up there. Also we have our garden egg leaf. You could also use uziza leaf, or you can make use of the both. Here is our mackerel fish, fresh mackerel fish. We'll fry it later on. We have our salt, our Maggi, our crayfish, our grinded dried pepper. You can use this and add more Maggi if it's not tasty later on. So now here is our red oil. Make sure it's the original one, the very good one. So here is our fresh abacha. Actually I have a video of it, or you can check my page for it, how to make abacha, the dried and the wet abacha. So here is my fresh cornet pepper, my chopped onions. I'll show you how I use it later on. Here is my garden egg, the chopped garden egg and the sliced one. It's actually looking like this because I cut it down. Most times that's how garden eggs are. When you cut it down, it starts changing color. So the first thing I'll do here now, I have to fry the fish. So I'm frying my fish. On the other hand, I'm working on the potash. So what you do, you use ordinary water, like not cold water, just ordinary water. Pour the quantity that you will need. Don't let the water to be too much. Just average, and leave it aside and let it settle down. So you get your pot. Don't on your fire. Just pour in your red oil into the pot. Don't on the fire yet. So the next thing, our potash we left for a while. It has settled down. We are using the liquid. We are not using the base. The base will be thrown away. So you put little at a time and you stir it very well, thoroughly well. Just putting it little at a time. The color will change to yellow, fine yellow, and it will be very thick when you are done. So keep stirring, then you add little at a time again. Yeah, it's ready. You can see what I said. It should be very yellow and also thick. Now the next thing I'm adding is the Ehuru, calabash nutmeg. It's also called calabash nutmeg. So I'm not adding much. You don't need to add much. Just the quantity that I'll give it is taste. So I don't usually put so much so that it will not ruin the taste of the abacha. So now adding the salt, the crayfish and the dried grinded pepper. So after adding it, the next thing you are adding is your Maggi. So I'm squeezing in all of this Maggi. Be generous with your seasoning so that it will be tasty. So I'm adding my pepper now. I don't want it too hot because we don't like much pepper here in the house. So I'm just being conscious of the pepper. That's hot bonnet pepper. So you stir it in. So after that, the next thing you'll be adding is your chopped onions. Don't put the sliced one yet, it's for garnishing. So just add in your chopped onions. And if you are using your onions, make sure it's the purple onions. It's very nice for abacha. So now I'm adding in my garden egg, my chopped garden egg. Leave the sliced one for decoration later. So now I'm turning it We have different species of garden egg. This is another type of species. That's why it's like this. So the color also and the pattern. So now I'm adding in my green. I'll leave a little for garnishing later. So thereafter, you stir in well and taste for Maggi and salt if everything is in order. Note that you remove some portion as a beginner before you add the abacha, so you can now start adding it bit by bit so that it will not be too wet, because if it's too wet you might not like it that way. It's not everybody that like it wet, so that's why I say you remove some portion, then you now start adding, then you pour in the abacha and start adding it the portion bit by bit to get the consistency you want. So now I've added in my abacha. I've already gauged the quantity of the mixture I want, because I want it wet. We love the wet one in my house, so this one is going to be the wet type. So now I've added the abacha, I've stirred it very well. So the next thing I'm going to do is to on my gas and lower the heat for the Maggi, salt, everything to heat well, as in cook well. But it should not be more than 2 minutes. It must not boil totally out, just for a few minutes. So now I've covered it to boil for a few minutes. Now it's ready. Like you can see, I didn't allow it to boil, like start boiling, no, just for some few minutes. I love the wet one, that's why it's like it. But if you want it dry, it could also be like that. It's just the way you portion it. So I'm tasting again to see how the final stage is. It came out well and good. Yeah, our abacha is ready. I garnish with onions, garden egg leaf, fish, and if there's pomo, you add pomo. So I was talking about the dry type. This is a sample of the dry type with pomo, different from the previous picture.